Yeah, heck yeah. I don't know if it's even going, but it's okay. She's new. She's still trying to get the ins and outs of.
I mean, she produces for free for you, so, you know.
I don't know if it's free at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's emotionally taxing for sure.
I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Does she get a camera and a mic? Or
She doesn't. Well, she can, but she just doesn't use it.
yeah.
She's really not into social media at all. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a nightmare hellscape that's going to probably ruin us all forever. But besides that, you know, hey, thanks for watching.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming. MuseMeTV, everybody. Episode 193.
Bang, bang.
Zach Bennett. I remember last time we did the episode, if my PlayStation fucked up, so I had to do part 2 and shit. It's
Yeah.
like, this is stupid. I should have never wasted this guy's time. He should have never came to this mic.
Are you kidding? I was, dude. I was like, I was so happy because at that point I was still kind of getting to know everybody, and I was just like, I wonder if anybody actually likes me. And you were like, come to my house, do a podcast. I was like, absolutely.
Yeah, see,
You could have gotten here and been the worst, and I would have been like, this is pretty good.
I'd be like, welcome to my house.
Welcome to my fucking house.
Nah, you're cool. I like you. I don't know why this happens to me all the time, but well, don't get me wrong. I love the comics that are here and all, but I end up making a better connection with comics that come from out of state.
Yeah.
Than like the comics that we see each other every night. And I think that's that case where you're just like, God damn it, I've seen him do the same thing over and over and over again.
It's because you become more like family. Like when you get so used to each other in a comedy scene, you got some people that you build like genuine friendships with, and you get some people that you build this weird thing that like you don't hang out together, but you talk a lot online, and like you just kind of you end up talking to each other like as if you guys are I don't know, like you feel weirdly obligated to be a part of that person's life at first, and then they actually just become a part of your life. It's crazy.
Is that a bad thing? I feel like that's a bad thing. You want it to be one of those things where it's just like, they're my friend, and like I see them once in a while, and that's cool. But then when you see them every day, you're just like, oh man, I have to go to this.
You know why it's not a bad thing?
I have to go home now.
Why it's not a bad thing is because when something like COVID happened, like it made me realize I was like, oh, I miss these people. Like, you know, like
you're so nice.
Eh.
You're so nice. You're the nicest ever.
I'm nice to nice people.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm indifferent to. No, that's not true. Yeah, I'm fake nice to everybody who's a fucking bag of shit. Because to me, I'm just like, it's not up to me to explain to you why you're morally bankrupt or whatever the fuck is wrong with you. I just, you know, I go, cool, man. And I just move on. Like, that's my new thing is like I used to always want to be that guy who, you know, was like helpful and like when I see people doing stuff wrong online, like with their videos or like with their comedy or whatever it is,
anything,
I don't jump in. I don't help. because here's the thing. If they wanted that, they'd ask for it. No. It's not my job.
Well, if this is the same thing with getting booked for shows, like I'm glad that like you're someone who's like, if I want to be on the show, I'll ask him, you know, I'll reach out. But there are some people here in the scene that are literally like, well, I can never ask. What if they don't even think I'm good? Or why would I even do that? And then at that point, you'll never know if you're good. Yeah.
Or you have the other side of it where like, you know, you're good. And then you start to get like kind of butthurt that people aren't like asking you to do shit. You're like, I'm good. Why aren't you? But the fact is that like people have their go-tos. You know, I used to book shows, and then people would get mad at me sometimes, and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I just didn't think about it because like I have people that I know that are like my go-to people. Like there's plenty of other good people. I just don't see them as much, or I don't talk to them as much. That's all it is. Like
I like how you mentioned it too. Like it's a job for the comedy club to like just make sure that they get their seats filled, and it's not about like, let's give this guy a chance.
It's 100% the case. If someone doesn't book you, it's because you either don't fit that demographic that they're trying to fill,
or you just still need to work,
or you need to work on your shit. If I don't get booked for something, sometimes I get upset. There's been times where I've been like, I know I'm the right demographic, I know I'm funny enough, and I didn't get booked because, you know, I just didn't know the right people or something. And there'll be a moment where I get upset, and then you go like, okay, well, you know, get to know those people then. That's the other thing. It's a fucking business. Like, the fact that like what we were talking about on my podcast, where we were talking about the whole thing with the
What's your Zach Bennett podcast?
No, it's Comedy is Chaos.
Comedy is Chaos. Check it out.
I'm probably going to change the name at some point because I think people start to think it's like a little more inside baseball than I intend it to be. And to be fair, our episode was pretty inside baseball.
Yeah, I know, right? Let me tell you about this one host.
but the what the fuck are we talking about? I lost it.
Doing comedy.
My brain. Yeah. Well, that's. No. Yeah. What we were talking about on my podcast, where we were talking about the way that you have to attack like the business element to that. Like people forget that like this whole comedy scene thing where we get to be friends and do open mics and showcases. That's all the stuff that prepares you to go be professional comedians. That's like that's just school. We go to school, we hang out with each other, and then some of us get to the top of that chain, which is I guess like college. Like we're like paid athletes at that point. Like we're like paid athletes at a college at that point. Like professional is like technically professional is getting paid, but I mean when you're truly like on another level, it's because people are booking you for clubs and that sort of thing, and it's just like what it takes time to get to.
Okay.
Like, and so when you think about it from that element of it, it does kind of make you like you can kind of look at the comedy aspect of it and not take it so serious. Like in terms of like it being like a negative. Like you take it serious because you care about the craft of it and everything.
Yeah.
But when you look at like it's sort of like when you go to if you go visit somewhere, if you bring up the biggest person in your scene, bring them up in any other scene, or not any other, but one that's far away. No one knows who the fuck you're talking about.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter to them because again, we're like these are all these beginnings things, and you can get to the top of those. You can get to the top of the bottom. You know what I mean? But anyway, so yeah, like if you brought up the biggest person in this scene and you were in like, I don't know, Massachusetts, no one would. They'd be like, oh, cool. But I don't, it just wouldn't matter. And that's no knock against them. It's just the fact of like where we are with it. So,
I guess you're right. I mean, not everyone is known in certain locations or whatever. So it's kind of building up that repertoire or like that status, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It's not a knock against them as a comic. It's just the business of comedy is a business. So like the comedy scene and the business of comedy are two different things. Right? Like we all had a group chat, right? The garage chat, right? That's not the business of comedy. If you brought up the garage group chat to someone, they wouldn't be like, yes, and so how do we monetize? Like there's no, it's just friends who do comedy together and then, or acquaintances or people you barely know. And when you think about it like that, you're like, yeah, we don't all have to be friends. We don't have to like each other. It's fine. Like most of us do, and that's great. Like the Albuquerque scene's fantastic for that. Most people get along. Everybody's pretty chill. You go some places and they don't give a fuck about you, and it kind of can hurt your feelings. And then you go like, oh, why would they? What in the fuck do I bring them?
Where did that come from? Like, have you had that kind of hate from other scenes?
No, not hate, just indifference.
They're just like, yeah, this guy.
But here's the thing: they should be indifferent. For what reason? Like they'll be polite, but like, what are they gonna? Hey, like I had a why can't I say that?
Unique.
I had a unique experience with coming in here where I was dating somebody who was already connected to the comedy scene. So like that was like you guys were already nice anyway, and you would have been nice if I just showed up. But I had an extra boost with that. Yeah. So that was like sort of like a faster in. But you guys would have been nice regardless.
And I think that's hilarious too, because I feel like I ended up liking you way more. So I'm just like, yeah.
It's not a competition.
It's so true though. I'm just like or again, I've connected with you now. Like you've been on my podcast a few times. This will be the second time.
Well, this goes back to the comedy element of it though. It's like it makes total sense. Like you and I, like we've hung out more. We spend more time. Like if I started to pull away from the comedy scene and started to focus more on my career of something else, then of course I'm not going to be as like, why would I be? You know what I mean? Like,
dude. Wow. I thought we were friends.
No, I mean like specifically like if it was flipped, and you just saw me less, you wouldn't like. If you saw me less, you wouldn't be like, I don't know, there's just something about him. Like we spent enough time to just get to know each other, you know. And if you aren't spending time around it because you got other shit going on, it's totally normal, And it should happen, honestly. Like, a lot of people, you know, you see the thing happen with a comedy scene where, like, people get a little too, at any comedy scene this happens, where, like, it becomes your hangout, which is normal because those people become who you hang out with and your friends and, like, your social network.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people will conflate that with the comedy, with the business part, right? So they'll be like, oh, I didn't get booked on this thing. What's the deal with that? We're friends. It's like, yeah, but I just booked some better comedians. Like, I've been that guy that got not booked because some better comics got booked. Like, that's just, you know what I mean? Like, or some people who are around more. Like, you know, in Florida, like, my town that I lived in is an hour away from 2 big comedy scenes, Jacksonville and Orlando. So anytime I wanted to get on stuff, I already knew. I'm like, oh, I got to go out to some mics and just, like, show up and see these people I know because they'll forget about me. You got to show face. Otherwise, people just forget. It's not because you're bad. I mean, it can be.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Yeah. But sometimes if you're not around, people forget about you. Think about it. If you were going to book a show, is there anybody you would book who you don't see on a regular basis?
Troy. We don't see him anymore, but I still think he's funny. But I get what you're saying. You once you, like, lose getting familiar with the person and stuff, or them showing up as much, you don't know if they even have that material where they're just like, well,
or they might be rusty from taking time off. You know, I booked. I was headlining a club in Florida, and I booked 2 of my friends to be. I booked 2 of my friends to be guest spots for me, who I normally would like to have them feature for me. I really like them as comics, but they both work full-time jobs. One's a manager at a restaurant, one's a manager at a movie theater. So they both work at night, and they work, you know, insane hours. So they get maybe a set in a week, if they're lucky. So, and it's no fault of theirs in terms of, you know, their life, but, like, they're very funny people. But I already knew that I'm like, well, if you're getting one set in, you know, a month, or, like, if you're getting, like, a couple sets in a month, you're just going to be, no matter how funny you are, you're just going to be rusty.
Yeah.
You just are. I remember coming back from COVID, I was like, I was excited and thought I was going to be crushing. And I was like, I couldn't believe how rusty I was.
I'm not getting anything out of this.
Honestly, even coming out here, you know, I had been back to comedy for a few months, and I got out here and I was like, I kind of was like, I was doing okay, but, like, I was doing well at the mics and, like, hanging out with everybody and stuff. But, like, there was times where I personally knew, I'm like, oh, you're funnier than this. Like, excuse me. I would miss tags. I would miss punchlines and like, or do things in the wrong order. So it's shit like that where you're like, you know, you're funny. You just haven't ran this in a while. So now you're not connecting these dots the right way.
Okay.
So,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry if anybody's not into the.
I don't give a fuck. This is my podcast. I talk about whatever I want to talk about. Jesus Christ.
But yeah, like, there's just the keeping having a reality check about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Think about if it was anything else, right? Like, if this was, you know, I mean, essentially.
Sport.
Yeah. Like, if you and your friends got together and you played kickball every week, and then somebody was like, hey, some of you are actually, like, really good at kickball, and we have a kickball league. It's unpaid, but you get some attention, and, like, people, like, some people would be like, oh, I think I kind of want to get, like, super into this kickball thing. And some people would keep treating it as a hobby. Like,
yeah.
I mean.
And you kind of already see that. Like, I see it now. As long as I've been doing comedy, you see those people who are, like, they're dedicated to the craft and going all the time, and people that are just like, oh, well, something came up and I wasn't able to do it for, like, 3 weeks, but I'm back now.
And it's also, here's the thing about that. It's actually fine, too.
No.
You can treat it. Well, here's the thing.
We're not getting into this again.
No, I'm serious.
Just kidding.
I'm serious. You can treat comedy as a hobby now. It didn't used to be like that because, like, what we were talking about before, like, with the comedy club aspect and all that. Now there's so many open mics and there's so many different things that you can do through the world of comedy that, like, that you can have people who just want to try it for fun. And we encourage it because we need people on these lineups or on these open mic lists. You know, you need people on the list, so you just sell drinks for the bar, and you got plenty of comics to keep the show. Most places would like a show to run about an hour and a half, 2 hours, so they can get some bar sales in, and that keeps it going. That's why when they book people to do acoustic acts, how long do they ask you to do? 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Like, they want people to keep coming in and listening to music, and, like, and they pay you $150 and give you a couple of drinks. Like that's supposed to cover 4 hours. but comedy, even more lucrative for them. They only got to pay the host, and then we all go work for free.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
To be fair, most open mic comedy isn't worth paying for.
To be fair,
because you're essentially trying it out, or you're trying out new stuff if you're seasoned, or.
And there's that aspect too when you go to a venue or a bar that is hosting an open mic. I don't know how you feel about this, but do you feel obligated to at least help provide for the bar as well, since they're hosting the open mic? Like I feel like I should at least.
You mean like buy a drink or something? Yeah, it's totally normal, because wouldn't you, like, what, you're gonna go do the open mic and then go to a different bar and buy a beer after? Isn't that what everybody does? Or you go home? But I mean, like. But for the most part, like we were talking about the different scenes. Like when you go to a bigger city, like a lot of those mics are like, hey, you have to buy a drink.
Or like, don't you even have to pay to be on the mic?
Some of them you got to pay, yeah. Some of them have a better deal where they're like, as long as you buy a drink and, that's how you make your payment. Which is a pretty fair deal. I mean, most people are going to buy a drink, Yeah. Even if you don't drink, you get a soda or something.
Yeah, right. Sparkling water.
Yeah.
Peach flavor. That's cool. It's so weird, though. Again, doing comedy for this long now kind of makes me seem like, what are the main aspects of why I'm doing it and what makes me want to do it more? And, it's enjoy. I just want to make people laugh. That's what I want to do. But
it just makes me happy to know that I'm bringing people joy.
Here's a question. So you're going now to L.A. to do comedy.
Yeah.
What happens if you get scouted by a talent scout for TV? Is that still going to be something that you go towards more, or are you still going to have this love for comedy that got you to this spot?
Well, like we were talking about with the way that the comedy business works, it's just business. It's asses and seats, right? So it doesn't matter how funny you are. Like, I mean, obviously you need to be funny, but like there are people who are like YouTubers and Twitch streamers, and like there are people who are like selling out like theaters. There's people on theater tours right now who made up an hour so that they could go do live dates because someone decided, the guy got a manager, and this manager said, hey, we can set you up a tour. And there's people right now who are either not comedians or like were barely comedians in the first place. And here's the thing. People like hate them. No hate to them. Go get your money. Fuck it. What are you gonna turn down a bunch of money? No. And it's a lot of fun. Like, you're making money Twitch streaming, and then you get to go do a fucking tour. Do it. Get this money. Like this current incarnation of like how we have media and everything like might not be the same. Look how much it changed. TikTok has only really blown up like since the pandemic. Like, that's a new thing. Like, I have friends that are like TikTok famous now. Like, it's crazy. So go get your money. But the thing is that like that's a credit now. Social media is a credit. Like it used to be you had to be like on a famous TV show or in movies or like have a famous radio thing, or you had like such a big special that got seen that like people now like know you from. Like, that was the old way of doing things, right? I think probably like Tom Segura might be the last comic that like really blew up off of specials. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's more, but that's the last one I can think of anyway.
Yeah.
But that's all credits. Like, that's something I learned when I was living in New York, and there's this comic outside, and I'd never seen him before. He was really funny, and we were outside talking, and I was like, dude, how do you get on? I'm like doing all these mics, but I was doing better stuff before in Florida. Like, I know I can get on some of these shows. Probably, I was not ready. I thought I was ready.
That's always the case, right?
Oh, always.
You always jump before you could even.
Oh yeah.
Walk.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, you just got to have credits. He's like, do you have any credits? I was like, no. He's like, all right, well, you got to have credits.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because they want people to go like, oh, that guy, even if it's credits that no one would ever know, the fact that you have them is like basically showing them like I'm doing stuff. So it can be something that has nothing to do with comedy, and most of the time it is.
Yeah.
Like, they don't, you don't sell out theaters. Well, more recently, now that there's like a actual comedy fan base over the last like 7 years or so, and then of course with TikTok making people blow up, like Mark Norman's been a murderer for a long time, just killing, and then he blew up recently. Like, he just came to Orlando sold out every show.
Nice.
Like, and that didn't used to happen to him, but it did now. But, you know, you have to have something that's tangible to make people give a shit. You know, like
that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I'm pretty funny. I can handle just about any crowd you throw at me, I think. Old white people don't really like me that much, but
you know, I still make it work.
yeah, I do what I can. But no, but I mean, like, generally, you can put me in front of most crowds, I'll do fine, or I'll do well, or I'll do good, whatever. But I have no selling point to the general public. You know, that's the thing that, like, that's what you go to LA for. Like, people who already are in movies and stuff want to get into stand-up to like try it out, or to like maybe go on a theater tour, because it's like, hey, here's some free money, basically, you know. And then people in stand-up are trying to get into the bigger business stuff so that they can get credits, because like it's totally backwards. We're trying to go to the thing where you make a bunch of money and get famous and do well, so that we can go do the thing that nobody really gives a shit about. Nobody really cares about comedy that much. People like it, but the majority of people are like, oh, that's the thing I'll go do, like, a couple times a year I'll go to a comedy club. People don't actually give a fuck that much. Yeah. They might like somebody they scroll through and watch on their phone or whatever, a Netflix special. But, like, most people on average are not, like, massive comedy fans. So comedians are all just trying to find different ways through social media or movies or TV or all of the above, and you go out and you get some credits. So that's really what you asked is actually the answer itself. You asked, would you do it, and then, like, how would that affect the comedy thing? It's to do more comedy.
Okay.
Yeah. We're drug addicts. We're literally we're like, hey, can you? I'm gonna sneak into my rich family's house so I can steal their Vicodin, so I can get more drugs. That's what comedy is. We're like, well, I'm gonna go get these movie credits so I can get back on stage. It's fucking insane.
It's weird though, because there's some people that are, I guess you could say, very well established, like, artists, movie, like, actors and stuff, but don't do comedy anymore.
Right.
And that's how they kind of got their little segue into doing that, is because, like, hey, I became famous because I ended up doing comedy, and then I got booked for a sitcom, and now the sitcom was super famous and funny and everyone loved it, and then it turned into a movie role, then it turned into commercials, and then all of a sudden you've never seen them doing stand-up ever again.
Yeah.
Like, is that a path that you see happening to you?
No, I'll never not do stand-up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's up, Dulcie? I thought you were going to say something.
No, it's like, how is that an honest answer? You don't have all of the money you would have if you were famous.
Well, I'll say this. Based on my current life experience, right, and because we all change, you know, you never know. I mean, if you would have asked me at 18 what I was going to do, I was going to school for a theater scholarship.
Yeah.
I had a full ride to go to school to get a college degree in theater. And then I realized after a few years of it, I was like, oh, I don't want to do this for money. All my friends did theater, and I was just having fun. And then I had the opposite thing with stand-up, where I started with all my friends, and I was having fun. And then it was just a good time. And then eventually I got to where that was the only thing I wanted to do. It's the only thing I've ever felt like I was truly good at, like on a higher level than anything else in my life. Like, I've liked other stuff. I am truly in love with stand-up. I've never, you know, if you're any good, I think you always think about quitting, because it's the stress of something you love that much, also hinging all your future on, it can be a little stressful. But at the end of the day, like, you know, before COVID, I might have taken max maybe 2 weeks off one time, like, maybe, and I like. I mean, I was using it as a crutch at one point in my life, where, like, comedy was like the thing keeping me going, which is not healthy, by the way. People are like, this is my therapy. No, it's fucking not. Yeah. This is called a coping mechanism. Go to therapy.
Yeah, don't make it into that.
Yeah.
Like, please. Yeah. We all have to listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's entertainment. You're supposed to be entertaining people. Yeah. You can work out your trauma with your therapist. And if you want to come make it funny, then great. You can do that. But anyway, yeah. So, comedy is the only thing where I've ever, at least with where I'm at currently, I know you can never say never. But for me, money's never been a factor in my decision making, or I wouldn't be doing stand up. I'll tell you that. There's no fucking money. There's no money. There's money if you're that whole joke that I do about where I talk about the bowling alley and like the crazy shows you do, and then I say there's Kevin Hart, everybody else. There's like people like Kevin Hart. There's the people like all of us, and then there's open micers. Like it's $400 million, $40, no dollars. Like that's and obviously that's an exaggeration. Like, you know, there's plenty of people between.
But it paints a picture of
right,
like the step ladders you have to climb to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, there's plenty of people in between Kevin Hart and me.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be insane to even mention. But like, again, top of the bottom. Like, you know what I mean?
There's no in between.
Yeah, but yeah. So like, when you put it in those rational terms like that, then it for me, I'm like, I'm willing to sacrifice. I've sacrificed a lot in my life for stand-up. Nothing else I've ever been like that about. I think at times it's been an unhealthy thing. I know that. And I'm just finding healthier ways to deal with that now, you know? And it got to a point where it was like, oh, can you do this thing and still be a better version of yourself? Because a lot of people will use it as an excuse. I did for a long time. I was just like, yeah, stand up is, you know, I can't stand up. I would get out of stuff with it. I'd be like, yeah, I can't make it to your baby shower. Stand up. Like, I'd like miss life events because I just didn't want to, or I was depressed or whatever. And then I'd be like, oh, stand up. Like, it would just always be the go-to. So I started to go like, oh, do I have to quit stand up to like actually
enjoy life?
yeah. Truly. I almost did, you know, because it was like, I had to have that kind of reckoning moment where it was like, oh, well, do you love stand-up enough to try and keep it and make your life better? And after having to go back to Florida and everything, like, it was really a moment of like having to like reassess like who you are as a person, like what this means to you, what everything else means to you. Like, so for me, I can't ever see myself doing anything different. Yeah, hopefully I'll die in some hotel room in fucking Iowa doing a place called Yuck Yucks. That's the dream. That's all I want. I just want to die on the road having a heart attack.
People knowing, like, he
chicken
was
wings.
booked for a show tonight, but he didn't show up.
Yeah.
So on a lighter note,
Dead.
So okay,
Yeah.
I'm wondering.
Okay.
You were dating a comic while you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so this is something you guys could both talk about. I just wonder,
Are
like,
you dating a comic?
yeah, I
I'm just
did.
kidding.
Or
She's dating a fucking musician. What do you think? Just kidding.
So I was just wondering,
Yeah.
like, how different was it, you know, dating a comic and then dating a regular girl? And then I think both of you can kind of give me answers on this, because it's just interesting, like, what the differences are, what they did different.
Yeah. Do you want to go first? I've been talking a lot.
I think it's funny as fuck. Like, I love the fact that if I date a comic, and we'll say that's no fair because this will be the second comic that I dated, but the first one didn't actually understand the difference between being funny and not being funny. Because there were some times where I thought I was hilarious, and that just ends up turning up to me talking shit to her, and I'm just like, it wasn't meant that way at all. It was a funny joke. It was.
But that could also just be personality differences too.
See, going into this though, I thought that like, oh, dating a comic would be funny.
Yeah.
It would make it more conversation. It would be way more to talk about than just the constant like, how's the weather out there or something, you know? And it wasn't like that.
Right.
But again, it probably was the personality of the comic as well. It's like, I can be as funny as I want to be on stage, but off of stage, I don't want people to make fun of my weight or anything. And I'm just like, I don't know the fine line then.
Well, so this is something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but it really needs to be addressed more. Like, comedy is not a flat thing. It's not just comedy. Like, we have it with music, and everybody acts like comedy should just be this one thing. It's not. Like I remember I told you guys about that Tiki Bar show, and they the same woman booked me for a show to open for a guy who was like a music comic. So he would come out with a guitar and he would do like 30-second like Weird Al versions of things, basically, where he would like say funny lyrics but play like "We Will Rock You" or something. So he would do that for an hour, and then he had some other closer that he would do, which compared to what I do is vastly different.
Yeah.
You know. So they had me open for this guy, and after I saw his act, I came up to the showrunner. I was like, "Why would you book me for this? Like, this is so weird." And they were like, "I don't know, you're funny." And I was like, "Yeah, but like this is like having like it's like having the Ramones open for like like Jimmy Buffett. Like, this makes no sense. Like a bunch of parrot heads, and you're like, here's some punk rock. Like, it just doesn't make. And comedy really is like, because we've evolved past like the. It used to be the two worlds of comedy were like were like the Catskills, like all those early entertainer guys that just did take my wife please, like all that stuff. So there was that, and then there was George Carlin and Richard Pryor kind of like changing, and Lenny Bruce like changing the tone of it and making it like this more like connective like real thing where like you would say like here's what I think about this, instead of just like here's a funny way to like bring up a thing that we both can agree on. Like you could actually get it more formulaic, right? So like comedy itself has evolved so much past that. I mean, there's entire festivals that the biggest comics in the world would never be. I mean, I'm sure they'd put it on for the to get people to come and buy tickets, because that's what it comes down to. But like there's like I told you, there's like the guy that runs the punk rock kind of underground type thing where like he would never have like somebody like Brian Regan on, probably. Well, Brian Regan pull it off. Jeff Dunham, you'd never like have a guy come and do a bunch of semi-racist puppet act. like it's clearly meant to be like joking, but like you're gonna put the puppet guy in front of the punk rock crowd, like, so you would never do it the other way, but people always do it. They'll flip it though, So I know exactly what you're talking about, and it makes total sense. You two are a couple fucking goofballs, and you belong being goofballs together. You're fucking goofballs, and that's a good thing. It's good. You want to find another goofball. What do you want to find? Someone who doesn't match your energy? Like, sometimes it's good to have a yin-yang thing. Sometimes that's helpful. Yeah. But sometimes you need somebody who's going to be like ride or die with your energy, Like you're both like I don't know, like you're like just like fun, outgoing-ish, like silly, like ish. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, depending on what's going on, I guess. But like, but yeah, I think that's what that comes down to, is like you have two vastly different styles. Like if I was a showrunner, like I would book you both on a showcase or something. You know what I mean? But like if you were headlining a show, I would never be like, oh, that's the energy to match that. You know what I mean? Like maybe you would host. She headlines, that kind of thing, but like, yeah, there's just a different energy in different comics, and it's meant for different things.
How did it come across when you dated a comic then?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, have you dated comics multiple times?
I've never, no.
So just the one that happened.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I've ever. No, yeah, I've only dated one comic.
He doesn't date. He just fucks a lot. All right? All right?
No, I just had to. I'm only attracted to, like if you're not funny, I just can't. Like, so I've always dated people who I felt like were funny, but I just, the only one who actually did stand up, yeah, that would be the only, like, actual comic. Yeah.
Okay.
God, I hope I'm not forgetting something. That would suck.
No. And if anything, they would never find that on my podcast. They're going to be like,
you never know.
Like, I'm going to Zach's Patreon just to see if he keeps talking about me.
Fucking holding a grudge. Yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, that's the only comic I ever dated. So.
But that experience was beneficial? Did it make you realize that wasn't for you? Something to look for?
Well, it was a weird middle area where, like,
I mean, obviously it was weird. Like, how did you guys even end up meeting?
Okay. All right. So first let me address the comic thing. Like, she's very funny and could have and was doing more with comedy, but as happens with comedy, it's like this is not a lucrative, secure thing to be doing. Like, you really got to be okay with being broke as fuck, or you get with somebody who's not a comic who is going to support you, or what, or you're just alone. I mean, whatever it is that works for your dynamic, right? But she was starting to pull away from comedy and get more into like her professional career, because as we've talked about, like you need a day job to do comedy.
Yeah, you got to eat.
Yeah.
You just can't drink every night.
Yeah, comedy does not pay the bills unless you're, you got to get out of the top of the bottom and get into the bottom of the middle to even kind of
Start to
start
think
to.
about that.
When you're at the top of the middle, that's when you can quit your day job. So
I know exactly where I need to be now.
but that's what I mean about like it would have been different than dating a comic that I saw at Mike's all the time and was doing a bunch of shows together and just constantly like that was because that becomes the dynamic of part of your relationship, you know, whereas like that wasn't it was a part of our relationship was comedy, but because she had begun this different journey of like, oh, I'm gonna like she had like a real professional job, like, and when you take that into account, you're like, yeah, well, it makes sense that you wouldn't be like, oh, I need to get to this mic. You have other shit that when you have like a serious job that you like matters to like people's shit, like I'm not like you're not just like a barista. You have like people like if you don't get your paperwork done, like somebody might get fired or something. You know what I mean? Like when you have that kind of job, it's, you know, comedy tends to take a back burner, and it makes sense too. Like when I was working at the shelter, I mean, there would be nights where I'd have to call out of shows. They'd be like, hey, we don't have anybody to come in tonight, and I'd have to stay. And I'd have to message somebody and be like, hey, I can't make it. So, like, that's a point where I was climbing up in that, and I had to come to a point with that where I'm like, well, am I going to keep doing comedy, or am I going to try and get higher up in this thing, you know? And for me, comedy was the only thing kind of keeping me going at that point, and the job was making me miserable. Whereas with her, I think, for her, I think it was just like, oh, this is something I actually care about. I like this career. I want to do something with this. So, you know, you get into the sickness of like, got to get to the mic, got to do the show, got to do this and that. There's a real life outside of comedy. Like, and you got to like keep that in mind when you're, you know, when you're reassessing everything. And I think COVID did that for a lot of people. A lot of people quit or kind of went back some and just kind of was like, oh, I like this more as a hobby. I'm not trying to do this. Or some people went full tilt where it was like, oh, no, I really want this and only this or whatever, you know. So that's where I think the difference of like asking about dating a comic comes in. Where I will agree with the comic thing is like the we're all a little fucked up, you know what I mean? Like everybody, any comic you meet that hasn't had a kind of a crazy life, it's like that they're either hacky or not that funny, with the exception of a few. Like I know some people like Bo Burnham always talks about how he's like, yeah, that trope is, you know, it's probably more universally true than not, but he's like, it's not true for me. Like Bo Burnham's like, I had a great life. I've loving parents, never had any real trauma. He's just like an exceptionally good musician and comedian and performer. So anyway,
Interesting.
yeah. As far as how we met, she's from the same place as me, but moved out here and then was back doing some shows. Somebody had gave her my name to book some shows. We met at one of those shows and then just hit it off. It's fucking this child.
He be fucking. Just kidding.
So we met and it was just like
Hit it off, right?
yeah. I mean I won't speak for her. For me it was definitely like a love at first sight thing. I was like,
Oh, cue the sound. Cue the sound. I'm just kidding.
wrong sound. No, but yeah, we hit it off and we had maintained a relationship like of like, you know, keeping up with each other over the phone and stuff and just like talking all the time, and then it would drop off and come back. So it was just back and forth for years of like talking, not talking, being flirty, whatever. But we developed like a real connection out of that, and then basically like just after not talking for a while, she like hit me back up and was like, hey, I'm coming there to visit family, you know, if you want to get together. And then I had just hurt my back.
The back.
I was
Not the back.
what the fuck are you doing? See what I'm talking about? Fucking goofball.
The back.
Anyway, so I hurt my back. I was doing like, you know,
The
I
back.
was doing like manual labor shit and hurt my back, and so I was like, I had a week off, and it was the exact week that she was there, so we got to spend a lot of time together. And then yeah, and then it was just like that's when I came out to visit everybody for the first visit that I did, was literally like this time last year. It was like, come out, make sure you like it, because this might become this. It was a thing. We were way too quick. Probably we were just like
love lift us up where we belong.
Just immediately like not taking into account anything besides like, oh, we just care about each other so much. Like it was crazy. I mean, I did, but the decision making process, it was a bit hasty, I would say.
Okay.
To go like, okay, well, you hung out here for a week. I hung out there for a week, and now I'm gonna pack up all my shit and move to New Mexico.
But that's what's crazy too. Like, have you ever come to New Mexico before that? No, that was the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I really liked it when I came out here. You guys were all great to me, and it was. So of course when I thought about moving out there, I'm like, yeah, why the fuck wouldn't I? I had nothing going on there, where I was just like, I didn't really, I was ready to get out of Florida, but I just, I think I was at a point also where I was just like, before she had hit me back up, I just kind of, I was at like a real low point where I was just like, I knew I wanted to keep doing stand up, but I hadn't really found that groove again. Stuff had just really started to come back. Like Florida had been open, but it was like mostly mics and then some shows. But like I waited a while to get back in. I waited till the vaccines and everything. And so like, and I was also like working a lot, and just like, so for me, I was just kind of like really feeling lost. And I think I still was. Like when I came out here, I still hadn't kind of gotten back to a point of like feeling like myself again. So, it was an unfortunate timing thing, I think, for that, where like I was still trying to like figure out myself. And so I came out here and I'm like trying to figure that out in a new place with no friends. Like, I mean, in terms of like I've lived in Florida my whole life. I've always just had like literally everything just there, like friends, family, whatever. So I've never really had to adjust to a new setting, and I didn't really know what to do. And I would just sit around all day until mics came up, like, I mean, I was doing some stuff, but I mean, it wasn't like anything that was like fulfilling,
Yeah.
So, I should have done more probably to fill that void. But again, I didn't know what to do. I never had to do it. So I just kind of was like, I don't know, man, I guess it'll fix itself.
It'll come to me.
Yeah. Which is not how things work, by the way. If something's wrong,
fix
it. Yeah. I've been putting off a lot of shit. So, after we broke up and I went back to Florida, I was like, oh, like this is like, it was like kind of a wake up call for me, where I was like, I've been putting off therapy for like 10 years, like where like most of my family's dead. Like everybody's died. Never dealt with any of that. Like, other shit where like, I just knew there's like, depression runs in my family, all that stuff. I was like, well, just keep doing stand up and maybe it'll go away, which is, again,
not the right thing to do.
Not how that works. So, yeah, I think I was just using stand up as a crutch for a long time, and then COVID kind of took it away. And then coming back from COVID, I didn't know where I fit into everything. And then coming out here, I really didn't know where I fit in. I was like in this relationship that we rushed into. I loved her, I cared about her, but like we hadn't really built a foundation of a relationship to move in together. You know what I mean? Like you really gotta like, normally you wouldn't move in until you've like, till you really know each other. So it'd be like those.
Until you guys pooped in each other's same bathroom,
right?
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Together. No,
right, Dulcie. I'm still trying to get her to let me pee while she's on the toilet.
Pooping.
Yeah.
If you walk in on them pooping and no one's freaking out and it doesn't ruin your relationship, that's how you know.
That's good. That's good.
That's how you know.
That's really good.
We're still building. Then we're still building.
So, yeah, when you like don't know that much about each other, like you know enough about each other, like in like a conversational way, but like you have to like have moments of like visiting someone's house, and then like so the right way to do that probably would have been like, hey, we'll do it long distance for a little bit. I'll move out there, get my own place, or like move in with comics or something. You know what I mean? Like, and then build up to something. If it gets to that point. But I I was in that like all or nothing, like I'm a fucking maniac.
Shoot the thrill.
Yeah. So
kill.
So it definitely helped me with that too, where you know, coming back from there made me go like, oh, you've made, I mean, not exactly like move across the country for somebody type thing, but plenty of times I've done the thing where you do something so like it's like this giant gesture type thing because you like think that that's love, and it's not. That's like I'm trying not to use all these terms that everybody uses, but they are accurate. That's like the like codependent, like anxious attachment. What are these other?
I think that's what they call it.
Yeah. Big red flag. I'm a big red flag. Don't date me. I'm working on it, but you know, I would do stuff that like not even take into account like if it would make me happy or not. I'd be like, oh, I want to make this person happy, and I would be like, well, if I want to make them happy and I care about them, then that'll make me happy because it makes me happy to make them happy. But then you like forget that you have your own shit. Like you got to make yourself happy too, and like. And I know not all of you out there do. Some people, your whole life is just making yourself happy. And hey, good for you. You fucking lunatics. But
jacking off.
Somewhere in the middle is probably somewhere better to be.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Does make sense.
Yeah. So that's sort of the progression of that. And then also like coming back from that, it kind of lit a fire under me professionally where I got back and it was like, you know, I don't want to just do this same old shit. And I don't want to like fall into these same old patterns and all this shit. And I just hit up everybody I knew, and I was just like, hey, you got a show for me? You know, like, can I book a show, whatever? And I just booked out, I mean, I don't know, like 3 months straight of shows. I did like, I'm very blessed with like friends that just like will help me with shit. It's wild. Like I have a friend that lives in South Florida that's just like, anytime you need to come down and do shows, you can crash here. I got a guest room, guest bathroom. I'll leave a key for you, whatever you need. Like, just the nicest. And I have people like that all over the place. It's fucking wild.
That's cool.
And then realizing that you have that is a thing too. Like not just, oh, that's cool for me. Like I would do that. I would go, oh, that's cool. Right. But then to like, you put that up against other people's lives and you're like, oh, you're like truly like, I'm not like a religious person. So when I say blessed, I don't mean it in that way, but I mean like you're truly like blessed to have so many great people who are like willing to do these things, you know? And I just, I hit up every city where I knew somebody that I could stay with. I just hit people up, and I just did, you know, it probably wasn't 3 months, probably like 2 months, but I just did, I mean, nonstop shows for 2 months. By the time I was done, I was actually like, okay, I'm actually good. I want to take a little, because I was booking like not like a weekend somewhere. I was like booking out like Monday through Sunday places sometimes. Like it was nuts.
Okay.
But I also needed it because I was still pretty upset, you know. I wasn't super thrilled about leaving here. You know, I didn't want, you know, I got back and everybody's like joking around. They're like, "Oh, you came back." Like they're doing it like roasty. They're not trying to be mean, but I was like, I had to be like, "Hey, you know, I didn't like choose it, right?" Like I wasn't like, oh, this is what I want, like like I had to. So you know,
so I was wondering that actually, why didn't you get, if you liked it, you know, why didn't you just get a place? This place is super cheap to live. Like
well, the thing was that like I didn't
dun dun dun.
So this is weird to have something cool kind of bite you in the ass. I've just always worked like my whole life, like even when I was like, you know, just doing stand up, I was like, you know, I'd try and always be working or something. And anytime I didn't, I'd get super depressed. I like have to have something to do during the day. And so when I came out here, she meant it well, you know. She was like, hey, you know, make pretty good money. If you don't want to work, you just want to focus on stand up and like the social media stuff and like other things, you can do that, you know. And then if you want to, you can, whatever, you don't, you know. So at first I'm like, well, that's a pretty great deal. Why not try it?
Cha-ching!
You know? So at first I was like, you know, yeah, I'm going to do that. That sounds amazing. And then pretty quickly started getting like super depressed, super isolated. She's like working all day. You guys are all got your lives. You know, I can't like hit up comics in the middle of the day and be like, hey, I don't have a job. You want to hang out?
Hey, dude, it's 1 o'clock. Let's do a podcast.
Yeah. And so the answer in hindsight, of course, when you're not all depressed and like in this like bad headspace, the answer, of course, is go get a job, reach out to people. If you're feeling isolated and depressed, you got to reach out to people. You got to do something about it. I didn't say a single word about how I felt. I never was like, I'm depressed. Like,
Yeah, dude,
none
this
of
is
that
the first time I'm hearing of all this.
Yeah. Well, I again just had a hard time with the idea of
We were
shifting.
like this right away.
But yeah, like I just was having a difficult time with it, and I just didn't know how to like adjust to that.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to do about it. So like I was actually right before we broke up and I left, I was actually we were out like hanging out with some mutual friends of hers, and then this one guy who like I met him, and he's like he like offered me a job. And he's like, yeah, you just got to turn this thing on. He was basically like, I'll make sure it gets through. Like, I was like, oh shit,
You'll get it. You'll
yeah.
get it.
And it was like, decent pay, and like, and I was like, yeah, this is like, it was like one of those moments where you go, oh, this is what I've been I've been not doing the thing I need to do. And so it just sucked because I was like, literally like, I'm like, I got to get this resume made. And then like that night, I was like, hey, we're done here. So it wasn't said like that, but I mean, no, but like just to avoid the details of that, why the fuck would I talk about that? But no, it was I was kind of coming to that reality of like, oh, you've been not a great partner. You've just been kind of existing, like, which is what I was doing before by not addressing that shit that I felt like was wrong, like. Not addressing depression, not addressing all this shit, and just like, well, maybe if I just do enough stand-up,
I'll be okay.
Yeah. So, in a weird way, it's like the best thing that could have happened. Mm-hmm. Like, it sucks, but it's also like, I wouldn't have. I mean, who knows if I would have like ever have even done anything about it. I mean, I was gonna get a job. Would I have? That wouldn't have fixed everything. Was I gonna be like, oh, by the way, I think I need a therapist? Like. Was I going to go, oh, I need to really start like taking my comedy more seriously again, like I've been wanting to do, and just not doing it for no fucking reason? Like these were things that like I was allowed to be comfortable, and I've discovered about myself is that I cannot, if I get too comfortable, I'll just do nothing. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get depressed about doing nothing, and then do nothing about the nothing, which is too much nothing. You need something.
You need to do something.
Dude, yeah. I told Angel was like thinking, he was like, I need to take some time off of work and, just like focus on my music and, be an artist and get like really into like shit I need to do online. And I'm like, I'm just going to tell you right now, I've done that where I'm making enough money where I don't have to do shit. And you go nuts, dude. I had existential breakdowns because like, I just had so much free time to think and like reflect on like where I was and like what I'm doing with my life and where I was going. Dude, existential breakdowns. But it's like, honestly, is that a bad thing? No, you need existential breakdowns to kind of like break you all the way down and then like build back up your character and stuff. But I'm just saying, it's like not a fun place to be doing nothing.
And I can see that as a crutch too, like after a while you're just like, well, I'll take today off and I'll work really hard tomorrow. Yeah. But when you do have like a job that you have to go to every day and stuff, you're not like literally like, hey, I don't feel like coming in today. I'll go in tomorrow. But when you have that ability to do what you want to do, you kind of, unless you're super dedicated and super disciplined, you're kind of fucking around sometimes where you're just like, oh, well, I guess I won't make a song today, or I'm not going to work on a joke or anything. I'll just chill out. And then that ends up turning into a week, and then you're doing it for a month, and then you're just like, holy shit, like I'm not getting nowhere with what I'm trying to achieve in my actual life.
I wrote 2 tags the whole time I lived out here. I didn't write a new fucking joke. I wrote 2 tags.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I'm sure I wrote stuff, but nothing. I could be wrong, but to my recollection, I don't think I wrote anything that like wound up in my act. I like tagged some more stuff. I probably wrote some stuff that I used, but like, I don't know if I could be wrong about that. It doesn't matter. But the point is, it's not enough to where it's noticeable to me. Yeah. Like, that should have been peak time to do that. And so this is not everybody, by the way. I know a bunch of you are out there working your regular jobs, and you're like, I would do anything to not have to work. and some people that's is
the way. Yeah.
It's something you can do. But like, I think especially for artistic people, or for anybody who has like an artistic endeavor. It's paramount that you have the time to be able to work on that. So you need that time to not work, but it's also like you have to find other ways to keep yourself busy. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically, a 9 to 5 type job, but you have to have something that like grounds you. Because if you're just like, oh, the only thing I have to do is my art, you're like, you're not going to do your fucking art. You're going to sit around losing your goddamn mind.
Yeah, and there's always so many aspects of like doing it. Like, okay, I feel like I've created some pretty funny jokes or some great songs by not thinking about it. Like I'll be at work or something, totally have the mind going like in a different direction, and all of a sudden, great left turn because I'm just like, this works. I'm gonna go try this on stage, or I'm gonna go try to write this melody that I thought of today. But I wasn't working on like, I got to make sure I have a melody for today, or I got to make sure I have a joke. Like it came to me because of the other things that I'm doing. Right. And that's crazy to think about, is that like if you have this tunnel vision of just like comedy, you lose some aspects of what
you lose real life, which is what got you into comedy.
Exactly.
You wrote all your, like, that's like when I was talking about the open micer material and like all the comedy material I've written about comedy, that came at a point where I was trying to not do anything but comedy. I started show running, I was taking gigs I fucking hated, and I was doing all this shit, and it like
Kevin Kennedy.
This is 2019 for me, so but
he was around then too.
Well, I mean for me specifically, but yeah, I get you. But yeah, like I just was like, the first time I tried it should have been an indicator. The first time I tried to just do comedy and only like base things on that, I was fucking miserable, and I just assumed there was just something wrong with me, which is true. but also there was an element to that where like I was thinking that comedy was going to somehow like fill all these voids in my life, and it's not true. And writing all that open micer material, you have to have I think it was Tom Segura that said it. I forget who said it. Somebody said like you have to like live your actual life and like make time to go like have human experiences, because if the only thing you're doing is comedy, then you're not going to have anything to write about but comedy, and a lot of it's not that relatable. Some of it is,
some of it are these like, what is it, like these things that just make no sense, but you think it's funny because you're just like, magic cows and rainbows, and then you're just like, where does that relate to everybody in real life?
Yeah,
like, where do they find that?
I've probably written like at least like 30-ish minutes on comedy, but I only use 15 of that because it's just funny story shit that I can tell to a crowd and they'd get. But there's like, I write comedy jokes for comedians, like, or that I would only say to comedians, like in my head I'll like write something and go like, oh man, that sucks, I can't say it to a crowd, and I'll just like hit up a comic and I'll just be like, hey, did you ever think about it? And they go, oh, that's funny. But like, you can't do it to a crowd because, why the fuck would you?
Yeah.
Open mic with a bunch of comedians.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, and I'll save some of that for those kind of experiences where I'll like
think about doing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it was like last night. Like I didn't want to do any of my old jokes, but I was just like, whatever, I'm just gonna riff and talk shit. Like, just to kind of bring the mood of the comics for being here too. Like, why are we even here?
Yeah. Well,
we're doing it for a reason, so let's try to make this a fun experience for everybody. And
yeah, the worst you're gonna do is like not do well in front of your friends.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're gonna not do well in front of your friends if you're just doing the material they've already heard. So you might as well fuck around and try and make it fun.
Makes sense. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So if the Loch Ness Monster and Sasquatch were to get in a fight, who do you think would win?
I mean, okay. Now we got to set some parameters for this.
No.
Okay.
Yes,
No.
Okay. Hold on.
Okay. The battle arena is in the Redwood Forest, so obviously the Loch Ness Monster has a disadvantage.
So can Nessie breathe out of water for long enough to have this fight?
I think so, right? Isn't that what she is? She's just like a dragon?
Like a crocodile?
Yeah, or like a crocodile.
It is neither one of those things.
What is it? It's a dinosaur.
Yeah, it's like an underwater dinosaur type thing. That's
No,
like,
But what is it, like a whale?
that's
Like
what. It's supposed to be like a semi-dinosaur underwater-ish thing.
But it's like a lizard, right?
But exactly, it's like a lizard because usually the pictures are of the Loch Ness Monster with the head up, like,
and the tail.
and then the tail behind it. So it's
Okay.
like, it's probably more like a crocodile where it's like they can hold their breath for a really fucking long time and they live in water and they need it for their skin,
Yeah.
but they could also breathe.
Like if it's raining, that's okay, right? It could be raining.
The Redwood Forest is super humid anyway. Like, super foggy as fuck.
So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Who would win
All
this?
right. So
He's
we don't
thinking. You just have to give us an answer.
So we don't have to worry about if Bigfoot can swim or not in this scenario.
Well,
Okay,
he
'cause
can, obviously.
I don't think he can. He's
Yeah.
pretty shaggy.
I think he can.
I think you're right. I think like the
It's
weight
too much fur.
of-
What is that? It's like one of those like weird like a platypus or whatever. It's just like.
You ever jumped in a? There's no fur on a platypus.
Is there? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
if there
think
is
so.
or not.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
let's
Yeah,
look
look
that
that up. Yeah, do some producer stuff.
Exactly.
Do platypi have hair? No, yeah. Yeah, okay. So Bigfoot's not swimming. So, yeah. Man, I don't know. I mean,
And also, how big is the Loch Ness monster? Because we
supposedly
need to know
fucking
that,
huge,
right?
So the only issue would be,
It's a David and Goliath story all over again.
but here's the thing: we don't even know. Does Nessie just eat plankton? Like, what does she do? Does Nessie like even have like teeth?
Well,
like,
she doesn't have to kill him. She could just like beat him with like the tail and stuff.
Yeah, but if he can dodge a tail and just start fucking ripping,
Can we just
throats
go
out,
back
you
and
know?
stop considering Nessie as a female character?
Nessie's absolutely
Nah,
a female character.
It's her name's Nessie.
Yeah,
Their
she's a her.
name.
Their name.
They name.
They could be asexual and could change at any moment.
Right.
You don't know.
Like
they
a
impregnate them.
seahorse.
Yeah, they impregnate themselves.
So platypuses actually do have hair.
I knew it.
God
I knew it.
damn
And they
it.
swim all the time. What?
Hold on. How much hair though? What are we talking? We're
Okay,
not talking Bigfoot
actually-
levels of hair.
It's specified under their long, coarse outer hair is fine, dense under fur, which is woolly in texture.
Dang.
So they have like two
That's like having
layers of fur.
beautiful locks and a beard. You're still swimming.
I think it's too much for Bigfoot though. It's too appendagey.
But that's where all of his muscles come from. He's just like, oh, and then he's like super built now because he has to all this water weight and stuff.
You think that Bigfoot got his biceps from doing laps in the ocean,
That's the only way. That's a nice lake,
or
you know.
the Finger Lakes maybe? or
Yeah,
something.
good lake. He's just doing some great workouts in the lake. You
Yeah.
know, he doesn't eat regular. He just eats fish. So how is he supposed to get fish? I'm just trying to figure out.
You
what-
think he only eats fish? You think Bigfoot's a pescatarian?
Yeah, I think.
You don't think he's snapping deer neck, just fucking venison all day,
They're
dude?
too slow. He's too slow, but underwater.
Oh my god. You guys.
Oh my god, here we
What?
go.
Zach was right.
What?
This is like an actual like underwater type dinosaur.
Nessie.
It's called a plesiosaur.
Nessie.
Well, I figured it had to be because there's no out of water pictures of Nessie.
Right.
So.
So then Bigfoot would win automatically then.
Well, no,
Not
unless
necessarily.
yeah.
If Bigfoot had to get in the water,
Yeah.
you
But
know.
the opposite, like Nessie had to come out of the water.
Yeah, well, we don't know enough facts about her because she's not real. But if she can,
Why would you say something like that on my podcast?
if Nessie can hold her breath long enough to get up there, beat the shit out of Bigfoot with her tail or whatever, or stomp on him, then maybe. But I think Bigfoot's gonna be more agile and gonna be able to dodge all that stuff and just rip her throat out
And
so.
be super fucking strong.
Yeah.
That makes
And then
sense.
get all that fish out of her stomach and eat
You're
it
like,
himself.
Take that.
Yum, 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 yum.
Take that, you bitch.
Yeah.
Technology's getting better. AI is coming up with more and more ways to follow you. How do you feel about the Neuralinks that Elon Musk is about to bring out to the world?
Well, if we've all learned anything, it's that
Terminator's real.
number one, most people who are doing these, if anybody's selling anything, it's probably a quarter of what they say it is, another quarter of what you hope it is, and then half of it is a con.
We shouldn't believe
Does that make sense?
No, but like, do you feel that way with the Tesla car?
Oh, they just had a whole, issue with the software to where like it's not. I'm saying that like that, these things are not anywhere close. It will at some point. I don't think he'll be the one to put it out though.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he'll be the one to release whatever version of that becomes the thing we use, which I think is inevitable to some extent. Like look at us with phones. Like if you presented a smartphone to somebody, to the average person in like the 1950s, they'd be terrified.
They'd be like, oh my god.
They wouldn't even know what to do with it. They'd be like, oh my god. But like, yeah, I think the Neuralink, whatever version of that comes out, will be not by someone who is trying to sell it in its form of like, not because he's trying to sell all kinds. He's trying to sell Mars. He's like, yeah, we're going to Mars. It's like, no, we're not.
Yeah, what?
No, we're not.
Don't ruin my fantasies.
Look, listen. I want it to be true just as much as you. You know.
I mean, there's Nessie.
You think I don't want to see Nessie and Bigfoot fight? Okay, it'd be great, but you know, it's not gonna happen.
Come on, Death Battle, make it happen for us.
Yeah, Neuralink is or something of the like is inevitable. I think. Yeah, we're definitely going to be hooked up to something in our brains at some point. We're going to be part machine.
Are you a big South Park fan?
I mean, I used to be. So
You've seen a few episodes, quite a bit.
Yeah, I just haven't kept up with it.
Have you ever seen the episode where Cartman has a thing on his head, like an antenna reader, where it's called Shitter? No?
No.
It's kind of I think that's what the Neuralinks is going to be like. So Cartman installs this thing in his head where he pretty much, all his thoughts are broadcasted to this website called Shitter. But when he's in front of people, like right now, his thoughts would be, you can still hear his thoughts. Like, you don't have to have the shitter, but I love and hate that name.
It's pretty funny.
But you can
people tweet on the shitter. So.
Yeah, you're tweeting all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the other aspect is like, would it just be an invasion of privacy then, where like nothing you say or nothing you think of will ever be private again?
Yeah, we've already kind of conditioned ourselves to think that we're supposed to just be like saying all these things publicly and like showing ourselves all the time. Like right now it's for entertainment purposes, but I think if we do it for long enough, it might end up becoming, it'll go from entertainment to just like kids growing up, I think might end up thinking that like that's just how it's supposed to be. It'll be so normal to them that they'll be like, oh, this isn't just for us to entertain ourselves. This is just a better way to live our lives, or this is the way we now live our lives. Like they'll think it's so normal to like be filming each other and be seeing each other's thoughts and all this stuff where like, well, it'll be like the ultimate self-obsessed thing where we're like, we all come to a point of like where it's normal.
Do you think there would be like a filter built into it where it's just like, if I think of sexist stuff, I better turn that one off so no one hears it out loud?
Yeah, well, corporations are going to be involved, so whatever isn't monetizable to them or whatever is an issue, they will find a way to, like what they do with Facebook now. So if one of your thoughts is, fucking
against,
they're gonna block your thought. I don't know if it'll be. It might be a more selective thing though. Not like a everything goes out. It'll be more like.
I think it'd be funner if everything goes out though.
It'll be more like social media. It'll be more like immediate social media. You know what I mean? Like instead of like having to type a thing out, you just think it and then we're all connected. So it doesn't even like. No one has to check it. It just shows up where you want. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what this could possibly be. I know it's going to be a fucking hellscape nightmare of a thing, but it won't be necessarily to the people whoever the people are who have to transition to it that don't want to or refuse it. That's where the nightmare will be. And then everybody else won't know the difference.
They'll just be like, this is what I've always known.
Yeah.
Like the cell phone, right? Like there's kids that had like lived their whole life on there.
Yeah. They don't know it any different.
That blows me away too, because there's even families that recently have had kids maybe like 4-6 years ago, and they started their Facebook account as a baby. And they're like, we're developing you to be on Facebook.
Terrifying. When
you can be, or the sooner the better, or whatever the case may be. But like, isn't that going to be the same aspect as like when you have the whatever, the microchip, the glasses, the whatever it's going to be? Everyone's going to be able to like know who you are and find out ideas and stuff like that. Like I don't know, if I wanted to, I could probably look up babies that were born in like 2016 that have Facebook profiles back then.
Yeah.
Like that's weird.
It's very weird. It's super weird. And I think it's going to be, yeah, you're right. I think it'll become a more normal thing to where people will start to build. It'll become like an almost essential thing to build instead of like scrapbooking like people used to do back in the day. People are going to like have a kid's social media account and then all the stuff goes there. Mm-hmm. So like by the time they're an adult, they've already got, or by the time they're allowed to use it on their own or they're cognizant enough to do it, they'll already have a life on there. And they'll be like, oh, remember my kindergarten class? Oh, it was wild. Like, it'll be shit like that.
Don't you think that's a little, I guess,
terrifying?
I guess it would be terrifying, but then to some sense, you would kind of see the aspect of you actually growing up. Like
Yeah.
I hardly remember shit that happened in kindergarten. I don't even remember shit that happened in 5th grade that well. But if
Yeah.
I had something to go back to, I could kind of learn from my mistakes and like
Yeah.
totally be like, oh, Angel, I can't believe you did that in 5th grade. You should not be mooning kids. and at 5th, it's horrible. It's a bad thing.
You shouldn't need a reminder, but yeah, I get you.
I need something to remind me not to do it when I'm 32. You're like, you remember that time when you were 12? Yeah, don't do that again, buddy.
I think the idea of if it was just pictures, that'd probably be fine. But I think it'll become more of like a it's expected for them to be like living part of their lives on the internet.
Okay.
Like, and I think that's where it'll get weird and not good. Like to run a parallel online version of yourself next to yourself is gonna like fracture people's psyches.
Well, that's my next.
It's already
question
happening.
now. Yeah, I'm about to say, how do you feel about the aspect of the metaverse?
Yeah, it's totally fucking absurd. But
what?
Yeah.
Okay, think of it this way though.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay, I don't know how you want to think about it. Go ahead.
No, like you have a presentation of sorts.
There's a game on Steam right now called Comedy Showcase, where you make an avatar and you can go into a club and you could either be an audience member or sign up for the spot to be on the stage. But you're being connected with hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people.
Great.
But it does bring out the worst in people as well, because you don't have a face.
Yeah.
You have an avatar.
Yeah, it makes everybody little sociopaths.
Yeah, they literally feel like I can say any, and oh my god, that game is horrible. Like the most racist, I
feel like you're answering the question.
I just like talking. Which is so bad though, but wouldn't that be the same aspect of what could happen in the metaverse? Like, okay, we get into the metaverse and all of a sudden we have avatars. They're established that we do comedy. Somebody in the metaverse hits you up and is like, hey, I have a venue on plot 23D where we put on shows. Would you like your metaverse avatar to do a show there? Sometimes we have an aspect of 200, 300 people in there. Would you do it, or can you do it? And what are the positives and negatives of doing that or not doing that?
The only positive would be more eyes on your material.
Okay. And there's a certain
which is what we're going through with reels and stuff right now.
And that's pretty cool that you can kind of, I'm pretty sure they can filter certain things too, where they can be like, okay, if you want to come to this venue and do comedy here, we can actually cut out all the heckler talk, or we can
here's a question,
do all of this.
Here's a question. Why?
Why what?
Why the fuck?
Because it's the way
the real world is still here for now. Why the fuck would you go to a virtual comedy show?
Because what if, I know this is more conspiratorial and like crazy, but what if this isn't even the real world? What if this is another?
Oh yeah, no. Mathematically speaking, it's a couple people have been pretty. They're like, there's like a 50-50 chance. I mean, it's very probable that like we don't truly exist in the state that we perceive ourselves. Yeah. I love that idea. I hope it's the case. It would be great if none of this actually mattered, because the amount of human suffering that we have put onto each other is insane. I mean, the only thing I could think that would make people do this is how evil people are to each other. So maybe there's some other people, some fucking evil aliens that are like, oh, Holocaust sounds fun. Yeah, but anyway, I don't understand why, and it might just be because, like, you know, maybe I'm just a out of touch old man.
Because I'm 37.
But why in the fuck would you not want to go experience something in person and rather do it online? That's insane.
But what if it feels so much like you are in person? Like it becomes so well versed that it feels like it. If it literally, like, you killed at that virtual show. You did a great job. You have people messaging you. You have people subscribing to you, all because of that one show, which makes it all worthwhile. Or is it just going to be one of those things where it's just like, oh,
did you just say worthwhile?
Yeah, worthwhile.
No, it's worthwhile.
Worthwhile.
Like it was worth your while, like the while it took.
I thought it was like worthwhile because you're just
so
like,
good.
this is crazy.
This is the best thing that's ever happened.
This is crazy good.
Hey, clip this. Get that minute marker. We're putting this out as a clip.
Worthwhile.
That's a reels right there.
It
Really?
happens all the fucking time.
Oh, I love it.
I
That's
have
great.
the worst vocabulary ever, dude. It's so bad.
That's
pretty bad.
it's funny though.
You believe in my contradiction, okay?
What'd you just say?
Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
think it'll be that bad. I think it's actually going to be quite entertaining, and it's going to bring
So weird.
more people together in a sense of like, oh, it's okay. Think of it this way too. Asians, they're coming in to the virtual venue, but they speak another language. But because they came,
Which Asians? You have to be more specific.
that's very racist.
No, it's very racist to not pick one.
Why?
You just said Asians. That's everybody from fucking Russia down to
Including Europe.
like Indonesia,
Okay, any of those.
and all the people who just live in different continents.
Any
Pick
of
a thing.
Any of them that cannot speak our language.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I had to fuck with you.
Then they come
Yeah,
and they go to this venue.
sure. You can break the language barrier.
Exactly.
Right.
What? How does that not sound appealing? Does that not sound like it's opening?
No,
it
they
up to
already
the
they already
world?
have that. It's called a comedy special.
No, it's not.
You just watch someone that taped a thing and you put it out. Why would you have an avatar do live comedy?
Because there is no way everyone is watching Mark Norman in China that speaks Chinese. They have to go through this filter system where it's like, can I get it dubbed? Can I get it with subtitles?
That's exactly what would happen there.
But it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, that's just dubbing. Why do you think they're going to change the... They're not going to get Mark Norman to learn fucking Mandarin.
In real time, though, I'm talking about like the words you speak are
Yeah.
automatically translated to the person that's sitting in
Well,
the
if
venue.
we had that technology, you could just put it into the special.
No, you wouldn't.
Absolutely.
But that's not the case if you're trying to sell out a venue virtually.
Oh, God. Like, just hearing virtual venue makes me want to skin myself. That is the most disgusting. Like,
You're gonna get paid in Bitcoin. It's fine.
yeah, listen. Everybody can have their fun. I'll die an old man in the woods. I do not care. This is fucking insane.
You're like, I'm doing a show for Nessie and Bigfoot tonight.
I would rather, and I hope they beat me to death.
Dude, what a Floridian, am I right? Southern white man right there.
Old man in the woods. Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
No, I just man. I mean,
Floridian.
I
That
mean,
sounds
that-
like a teeth problem or something.
You're thinking of fluoride? Is that what you're
This is what I'm talking about.
Dude, that really does sound like a nightmare, though. Like, I don't know. You would watch an avatar of the person. So it would be like, are we talking about like a Wii avatar, like that kind of thing? Like,
Maybe you're getting better at it. Like
Like
some
at what
avatar-
level? Like it would be just an avatar that looked similar to the actual comedian. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or customized if they want it to look extremely like, you know, if you wanted to have Nessie
Yeah,
on
do
stage.
stand up.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Here's the thing. I'm fine with it in terms of this is a funny, weird thing to do. If it took over the process by which people take in live entertainment, that would be... Now, I could be wrong. There were people who said that film and TV was going to be the end of...
The radio.
Yeah.
Or like Netflix. Like, oh, we'll always have Blockbuster and
Right.
like being able to go get movies. But then all of a sudden the streaming service came and destroyed that.
Yeah, but I think the detachment from the physical element is a thing. Like, to go from plays to radio plays to movies to video games, like, these all are things where, like, watching someone do something live is...
It will be live.
But it's not.
Yes, it will.
But it's not them.
It is them.
No, it's not. It's an avatar. It's different.
No.
It's absolutely different.
It's not.
That's like saying VR porn is sex. It's not.
I mean, if you have all the essential tools.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're a machine's jacking you off while you watch someone's tits in your face. Like, it's not.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. And if anybody thinks it is, you should try some sex.
You should try something different.
Yeah, have sex without a condom and tell me it feels like a fleshlight and an Oculus. It's not the fucking case.
They're gonna make it realer though, and that's the thing.
Yeah, but again, the question is why?
Because there's people that can do it.
It's true.
And that's fine. But, like, should that become the norm is the question.
Well, that's the thing is like we don't expect what is going to be the norm to become the norm.
Right.
So in that aspect, I think it's a bandwagon that everyone's going to jump on, even if we don't agree with it.
I think most people are kind of I think a lot of people are kind of lazy and stupid and will just do the easiest thing that is presented to them in the moment.
Put a VR on and go to a comedy show.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people, I'm sure they don't feel like this now, but if you conditioned them, they'd just kind of go for it. And I include myself in this, by the way. I'm susceptible to things. I'm not like putting myself above anything, but
I'll never do a virtual show.
I will not.
Until he does.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Until I'm like starving, and somebody will be like, "Are you ready now?
Are you ready for some Bitcoin?
Yeah. Can I just suck your dick or something? I don't want to do this."
Like you could do it in VR.
That was good. What the fuck are we talking about?
Why you wouldn't do it?
No.
Wait, no.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like you're not. You don't. I mean, you would kind. If it. You're not susceptible to it.
Oh, yeah. If most people, if you could hook up a feedback to them and hook up a VR thing, they would just stay there. Like, if you could make it to where they don't, like, get bed sores and, like, waste away, keep them physically able to function, most people would they would choose the Matrix. Like, that whole thing where they're like, oh, we gotta get out of the Matrix and all that stuff. It's kind of bullshit. Like, most people, the truth is that, like, most people presented with the two pills would be like, yeah, give me the one that keeps me in the Matrix. It's amazing in there, right? It can suck, but it's better to have that than this fucking hellscape of, like, right? So, like, most people, why do you think most people are, like, fucked up most of the time? It's like, it's better to escape your reality because if you don't know how to cope with it, it sucks. So, yeah, I think most people would choose virtual reality over it. So that's why it freaks me out, because I think that, especially when you have people still kind of living in this state of like exploitative capitalism that we have instead of like a more equitable system, people are probably gonna be too tired to, people are trying to survive, so they're not gonna be like, oh, we got to fight for what's, people are going to be like, I've worked all day. I'm not going to go to I got to get ready. I got to get a sitter for the kids. I got to do this and that. They're going to be like, hook me to the Oculus. And then when I'm done, if my wife's too tired, I'll just fucking hook up this
sex thing.
Yeah. And then, where does the end of that road lead? I've just kind of accepted it. At one point, we're just going to all be hooked up to stuff, and that's fine. Whatever.
I mean, you kind of already are, right? You always have your phone on you.
Yeah. At some point,
Honestly, this is what happened with music. I think that's what's happening with music is we used to have live bands, and musicians who practiced their craft and had to put like dedication and art into it. Mm-hmm. And now it's just turning into electronic music where you're just mixing a bunch of computer sounds. Yeah. And I'm like, I come from California, so it's like all of the huge festivals you would go to that are 3 or 4 days, all electronic music. Never live bands.
What's that noise?
I don't know.
It's a dog. I think she's trying to do something.
Okay.
You're like, is somebody breaking in?
Yeah, this is like, what's Let me check the time. Oh shit. Yeah, we gotta wrap up.
Why you gotta leave?
Yeah, I want to get down there around 6:30ish.
It's 6 o'clock. You're going to dry heat.
How far is that? I have no context.
It's literally like...
It's like 15 minutes?
Yeah, maybe less.
Okay.
We'll wrap up in a bit.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I didn't mean like right this second.
All right, everybody. Zach Bennett, everybody.
Giving you like a,
No, that makes sense. I mean...
10, 15 minutes.
I'm just trying to bring up random things to talk about.
You're doing great.
That's what I love to do. It's like... alien titties, right? Who knows? They might be amazing.
Probably.
Who knows?
Titties are great. Everybody loves titties. No one doesn't like titties. Some people like them more. Some people like them less. But everybody likes titties. No one's ever like, ugh.
Again?
Yeah.
No, I think people don't like titties on men. And I'm not talking about pectoral muscles. I'm talking about like flabs.
Yeah. I mean, sure, there's people who do, but it's...
that's a small niche crowd.
The amount of people who...
It's worthwhile, if you know what I mean.
You say Mitch? You say Mitch?
Yeah, it's a Mitch crowd.
Isn't it niche
No, it's a niche.
or niche?
Yeah, niche.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Like you're itchy.
Yeah.
Like a niche.
That felt like a Spanglish moment.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of people who don't like titties is the inverse to the amount of people who like man titties.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a yin and yang
Yeah,
thing.
it's like 2.8% of the population.
It's always out there.
2.8% is like ugh to titties, and 2.8% is like hooray man boobs. We're not body shaming, by the way. You can have titties. Just know that, you know.
Some people will, and some people won't like them.
Now, what I will say is that women are much more forgiving. If it was the other way around, yeah.
Seriously.
She's like, yeah, you're getting a little bit of titties over there on hell.
Yeah, no one's worried about that.
Random YouTube comedy?
Yeah, I got one more question for you,
Okay.
though.
Yeah.
Here, this is pretty serious, all right?
Okay.
You got this.
Yeah.
Would you take an inch from your penis to add to your height, or will you take an inch from your height to add to your penis?
Oh yeah, I'd want to be taller. I want to. I don't. I mean, I'm like 5'9". It's not bad, but I want to be 5'10". Sounds good.
Yeah.
I've been lying saying I'm 5'10" since it's on my driver's license. I lied when I was 16 and I've just stuck to it.
Yeah, I wear big heel shoes. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, I'd rather. Yeah, I'd rather be a little taller.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm fine. I'd be fine staying the way I am. But yeah, taller if I had to pick. Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. I don't know why, but those are just one of those questions that I feel everyone should be asked.
What do women say?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, what would you do?
Yeah.
Dulcie?
Yeah. You want a bigger dick or a higher?
Okay,
The
yeah,
head.
but am I adding an inch to, like, I'm gonna get an inch long penis
No,
if I'm taking
no.
it from my height?
No,
'Cause
no. Okay, for a man, like if you're dating somebody,
Oh, dude.
like me, what would you do for me?
No,
No, he's skinny. He's got plenty of dick. He'll take some.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How did you know? Yeah, that's
How
the
did
thing.
you know?
Yeah.
So
No,
wait,
but
so,
yeah, I mean, your height is fine and your penis length
but
is
you
fine,
have to
so
take
it's-
one or the other. Which
Please
one
don't
would
say
you
his
take?
penis length is fine. Say it's excellent. You got to keep the male ego
You're
alive.
like, it's okay.
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I'm 5'7", so if you're 5'9", I couldn't wear heels, so I'd probably take the inch from your penis and make you taller.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's just specifics.
I wear bigger boots when she wears heels just to feel taller.
What's the female equivalent of this question? I guess it maybe boobs would be. Would you rather?
Exactly. It
Yeah.
would be a cup size to an inch
Yeah.
of your height.
Okay.
What would you do?
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so
Cup
listen.
size, right?
Like, height in a
isn't it?
female's perspective is actually
A
something that turns off men, right?
The wrong man.
Agreed.
Right.
Yeah. Don't be pussies. Stay tall, girls.
Right. I mean, dude, you want to be super short because then your options of male partnership actually open up and multiply because then you can date the shorter guys and it
Right.
wouldn't be weird.
Ew.
Gotcha.
Gross.
So if you had like fucking G's and you were like fucking
You're like, I'll
5'2",
take 7 cup sizes and you can
Right.
make me 5 foot tall.
yeah, I would not care.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous though, because like, what if you're like super short but have huge boobs, and then all of a sudden it's like, I've always wanted to be tall, and then there's that aspect where like now
Well,
I'm
most women with big boobs would probably opt to lose a little bit of it.
Exactly.
A lot of them
Back
pay to have it
problems.
done. Yeah. Yeah. I have a couple of friends that are like 5'2", 5'3", and have
Back problems.
Have and I have a couple of friends that have had the breast reduction because it's like just too much to deal with, back problems, all that stuff. So
interesting.
Do you know how much investment it takes to get in good bras that'll support that weight for a long period of time?
You're
It's
like,
not easy.
2 weeks and I'm already buying new bras.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
the plight.
All right. We have a segment on here called Random YouTube Comments.
Got it.
So what I'll do is I'll generate a random YouTube comment,
Okay.
and you try to guess.
Are these from the live stream or you're just generally
This is from. So
just
there's
random YouTube videos?
no. So there's a website where it'll show you the comment,
Yeah.
and what we are gonna do is try to guess what kind of video it is.
Okay.
And then we'll go
Gotcha.
see what the video is.
Got you.
So this is a random YouTube comment.
Can you both see that?
Do you have it
Yeah.
on the second screen? Okay. What is the name of the instrumental for this song?
From this song.
From this song. See, I'm so dyslexic, dude. That's horrible. I'm saying itch all the time. What do you want from me? worthwhile. Am I right? What do you think this video is from?
I mean, this is the vaguest. What is the name of the instrumental from this song?
I'm saying it's like a video game.
I mean, already that's a weird question. Because if the song isn't already an instrumental, it's the same fucking name.
And this is the name of the user that put the comment.
Okay.
Mr. Sam Ghoul.
What is the name of the instrumental from this song? So I think they're just asking the question in the incorrect way. Because the name of the song is the name of the song regardless of if it's instrumental or not.
So what do you think this video is, though?
Are they asking what instrument is being played in the song? I
think
don't.
that's what they're asking.
Yeah, I don't understand what is the name of the instrumental from this song? Or they're using song incorrectly and they actually mean like a section of a video game or a movie or something.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking
Yeah.
it's like a video game title, and they're just like, "What is this instrumental from this song?"
They're literally just asking what the name of the song is.
That's what it
And
sounds.
they just put the instrumental thing in there unnecessarily because there's probably like a mostly instrumental section.
Let's find out. What is the song? What is this video? Oh, this video is unavailable because it's been
Copywritten.
No, people have complained about it too many times.
Do
They're
we-
like, "This song is horrible."
Do we know?
No,
Okay,
So yeah, once that little thing comes up on
It
YouTube,
might have been the comment. They were just like, if someone brain melted. They were like, take it down, take it down.
I can't deal with this.
We can't be liable. Is there a committee or something that I can send an application to and have this song officially instated as the theme of my life?
So another music one.
Okay. All right.
I think this
From
is
Shegawe. Okay.
Shigawe.
Is there a committee or something that I can send an application to and have this song officially instated as the theme?
So it's a music video, I say, or like one of those
Yeah.
like lyric videos where there's like lyrics on
Yeah.
the video.
I'm gonna say
This is already a song. This is already a song.
yeah.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, what a weird song to want as your Jonas 1mm Mega Med.
So obviously this is another country. Obviously,
Zora.
might be Spanish. I'm not too sure.
I don't know. It's not Spanish. Spanish doesn't have the circle on top like that.
That's like German.
But that last word seems Spanish-ish with the double R. But
Zorar.
Zorar. And then, yeah, but that's yeah, you're right. It's got to be something. It's either like Germanic or maybe like Sri Lankan, something like that.
I didn't say it. He did.
Yeah. So wouldn't even know where to begin to guess what this is. But we do see one. No, that's part of the name. Is the one I was thinking it was 1mm, but it just says MM.
And the Springer. That sounds pretty like English.
Speak Raka.
I think it's anime.
Okay.
All right, let's see what this video
Because
is.
of manga.
Yeah, because of manga. I don't know.
Floorball goals of the season.
Oh, it's like lacrosse.
Does it say what language this is anywhere, or where it's from?
What German?
As I see a Swedish flag back there.
Swedish? Does it say?
God, look at that training.
Yeah, that's Sweden.
Would you play this game?
It's like hockey style.
I don't know what's happening, but sure, I'd try it.
It just looks like hockey.
It's like hockey, but it never leaves the stick.
Yeah, it's hockey lacrosse.
Okay, make this stop, please. Jesus. No offense to the Swedes, but good Lord, that language. French is disgusting.
You rock. What do you think this is a video to?
From Joan?
From Joan. No, that's Ion.
Oh, is it?
No, just
Okay. Might be.
IAONE.
Ione. You rock. Jesus. I'm gonna say this is on a YouTube video.
Yeah. Somebody commented this
yeah.
on a YouTube video. So
Yeah.
what would that YouTube video be?
You know what? I'm just gonna have some fun with it. How about Dwayne the Rock Johnson?
Wow. So this is a scene from Black Adam.
No, it's gonna be like him like talking to a camera, trying to sell like his tequila or something.
He has tequila?
Yeah.
Holy shit, we gotta look that up.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Kidding. All right, go ahead. Let's see what this video's from.
What do you think it is?
I think it's a kid playing guitar.
I think it's a church.
Ah! Turn it down. Not on there.
Where?
On the. Just exit. We're done. Who cares?
Sorry.
This was nothing that we thought of.
What did she do?
Wait, shit, sorry.
Ah!
Okay. All right.
I think she was doing slam poetry.
Good.
All right, this is the last one.
Age Wo Ish Part 2. Alex Kumbar. If what I just said is offensive in some language, I didn't know it. I cannot be held responsible. Part 2. It probably means like, can we see part 2 or something? This is gonna be like a fight video.
I say it's a tutorial.
Okay.
Some kind of tutorial of some sort.
Noob movie.
Turn it. Oh yeah, there, right there.
Oh, okay.
This is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so we were like right in between. I said fight video. You said tutorial, which so I'm completely wrong and you're right.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, he didn't show us how to do anything, but hey,
No.
at least we saw him do it.
Can we see part 2? Like, what's that? A tray flip? I don't know. Like, what do you do?
It's like switching from a bike. I don't know. All right, I got one more segment.
Okay.
This last thing is called rapid fire.
Hit me.
So what
Look at you prepared.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say a word, and I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Gotcha.
Okay, it's quick. It could be a phrase.
All right, I'm gonna close my eyes.
Whatever the case
really
may
get
be.
in there.
All right.
Full sensory deprivation. Go ahead.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Music,
Dance.
food,
Eat.
black,
Fight.
car,
Drive.
super,
Man.
Native American,
Indian.
gold,
Silver.
maize,
Corn.
fast,
Draw.
and drugs.
I almost said eat, and that makes no sense. You got to eat the drugs when the cops come.
There you go.
So you don't.
Pew pew pew.
Yeah.
And that was rapid fire. That was it. So I've asked everybody those same words, and you would be surprised some of the answers they give. Somebody said white instead of fight. I was like black, white. Actually, I think I get that like 75% of the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So fight. That's a new one.
Yeah.
Zach, you got a show tonight. We'll be performing at.
We are gonna be at Dry Heat Comedy Club 7:30 tonight in downtown Albuquerque.
6th and Central, everybody.
Yep. And then
You have a few more shows after that?
yeah, I'll be doing a guest spot on the Late Show because Chuck was like, "Do you want one?" So I'll be doing so if you want to see me do a real short spot, you can see me on the Late Show if you can't make the early one. If you want to see me headline, come to the early show, 7:30 and 9:30.
Nice.
And then tomorrow I'll be doing Sunday service there, which I forget what time that's at.
I think it starts at 7.
Okay, 7, yeah. And then that'll be a showcase. So me and Zach Abeda and a few other comics. So if you want a double dose of Zach's, come get it.
The yin and yang.
Yep. And then I'll be heading to LA on Monday.
Dang.
Yeah, boy.
You're gonna kill it out there in LA, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
you're gonna kill it out there in LA, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
I can't wait to see you on a sitcom.
It's going to start as killing it at some regular ass job. I haven't had one in a while, so this should get.
Do you have anything lined up, or are you just gonna right away just be like application?
Yeah, I'm just gonna like probably take something quick that I can get right away, just to kind of get making some kind of money, so I can start saving up a little bit, and then because I have money saved up, so to be able to go out there. But yeah, I need to start making some money right away. So do that. And then I'll apply for some other stuff, and
So if you guys want, you can donate to MuseMeTV, and then I'll give him a percentage of the donation, so he can take it on the road with him.
Yeah.
We got to pay for some of this equipment in here too. So
Zach Bennett Comedy on all the stuff. Zach Bennett Comedy.
ZachBennettComedy.com.
PayPal, all that. Venmo, PayPal. I don't know why you would, but if you would like to, great.
You should.
Check me out on all the social media stuff, Zach Bennett Comedy, Instagram. Of course, I'm monetizing the only one that you can't find easily, which is Facebook.
That's what's so crazy, too.
If anybody on here is somehow 35, you can find me on Facebook. Watch my reels. I get paid for them.
There you go.
They told me I can't get monetized on Instagram because I've incited violence too many times.
Really?
I was a PA on a film set, and I was doing pyro illegally. I was not certified. And they had a professional photographer, and he took a picture, which is evidence, actually.
You're like Danny McBride.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there next to a limousine, like crouched down, holding this blowtorch, about to set a limousine on fire for this movie. And this dude took this awesome picture of it with like the flame coming out and everything. And I was like, so I used it as a show promo, and I said, if you don't come to the show tonight, I'll set your house on fire. And it's clearly a joke because it's directed at all of Instagram. I didn't say anyone specifically. And clearly, what am I going to burn down,
Instagram?
100 million homes? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so they were like, you're inciting violence. And then I made a one of those anti-motivational memes where I'm like driving with the sunset, and it says, it said, if you talk in a movie, everybody in the theater should get to beat the shit out of you like a family. And they all get away with it. It's legal. It should be legal for all of us to beat up people who talk during movies. You're ruining it. Shut up. Don't talk in movies. You're a fucking asshole if you do that. You can talk to the previews. I don't want it, but I can let that slide.
I'm
if you
okay
talk during
with
a
that.
movie, you deserve to get the shit kicked out of you. Anyway, so I said you should is what I said. I didn't say do it, but Instagram was like too close. So they recently told me I can no longer be monetized.
But you still can advertise, right? Still put your videos and stuff.
Yeah,
on there.
yeah. I can't make any money with them. And then TikTok, I'm not monetized, but they don't have they pay shit. So
Okay.
still working on the YouTube one, building up. But
That makes sense.
so anyway, Zach Bennett Comedy on everything.
You guys are awesome. MuseMeTV, we are here. Hopefully not in 2 months, but we'll be back.
Next week, baby.
Yeah, we'll have another guest come in.
You two can just do an episode.
That's what I keep doing. I keep thinking about it too, and I just like get so lazy. And I'm just like, I'm in a comfortable spot right now. Oh, let's just take a break. We've been doing this a lot. So yeah, I can't.
No good.
No. And I shouldn't have that mindset because I know how hard it is to play a fucking solo on guitar. I have to do it, like practice it.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. Like if I don't know what I'm doing until I get to episode 1000.
Yeah.
And so I still got a long way to go, and I still have a lot of people to talk to and a lot of things to learn. So I'm on my way.
Harass him. Go on his comments and say, "Get me another episode. I want it."
They're going to be like, we want to see Zach Bennett again in VR.
Tell him to do a set in fucking Meta.
You guys are awesome. Thank you for tuning in. MuseMeTV. Google MuseMeTV. You'll find it. Zach Bennett, everybody. You guys have a good night. Bye.